Welcome to this explainer. Today we are digging into a pretty massive anomaly that's probably sitting right there in your analytics dashboards as we speak. I'm talking about that sudden, totally unexplained surge in your direct traffic bucket. You definitely know the one I mean, the one where nobody on the revenue team can quite figure out why it's climbing. Well, today, we're going to find out exactly why AI traffic hits direct and what's really going on behind the scenes. So to figure this out, you actually need to zoom out a bit and look at macro search trends first. According to a 2026 SparkToro study, 68.01% of US Google searches now end without a single click. Think about that for a second. Traditional search is literally shrinking because people are getting answers directly on the results page. And yet, while standard organic clicks are dropping, your direct traffic bucket just keeps mysteriously growing. Now, you might be wondering, why exactly is that direct traffic climbing? It is super tempting to just blame a broken tracking pixel, right? Or maybe your marketing team is patting themselves on the back, claiming a massive win for a recent brand campaign. But actually, scratch that. In most cases, both of those assumptions are completely wrong. The true culprit behind this anomaly is AI-mediated discovery. It's hiding in plain sight, fundamentally breaking a core assumption of web analytics, the idea that a click always carries a referrer. Let's investigate the crime scene. Normally, when a visitor clicks a citation in a standard desktop web browser, the session passes along a perfectly intact HTTP referrer. That tells your analytics stack exactly where they came from. But AI usage relies heavily on mobile apps. And when a user taps a link inside one of those apps, that vital referrer data is systematically destroyed. Gone. Follow the data journey with me here. Say someone clicks a link inside the ChatGPT mobile app. The app delegates that link to the phone's native system browser. But during that handoff, the HTTP referrer header is entirely stripped away. By the time that user finally reaches your website, there is absolutely no data left. Your analytics tool basically just shrugs and files the visit under direct. And get this, it is not just one app doing it. OpenAI's proprietary browser, Atlas, defaults to blocking referrers entirely on outbound clicks. Anthropic's Claude actively strips them using no referrer tags. Perplexity's Comet browser is wildly inconsistent depending on the device. And Google AI Overviews? Well, they don't technically strip the referrer, but they disguise themselves by passing the exact same string as a standard organic search. It completely washes away the footprints of your AI-driven visitors. With all this AI traffic floating around, we really need to separate the consumer retail hype from the B2B reality. Because you've probably seen those massive headlines about retail AI traffic surging hundreds of % over the holidays. But listen, treating complex enterprise B2B software like holiday shopping is a guaranteed way to completely misguide your strategy. Let's look at the actual numbers for B2B. According to the 2026 Conductor benchmarks, AI referrals only account for 2.80% of total website traffic within the information technology sector. Sure, it's the highest among analyzed industries, but honestly, it is still just a fractional share of total sessions. The raw volume is actually pretty low. But here is the absolute kicker. The volume might be low, but the quality is off the charts. This AI traffic boasts an average conversion rate of 14.2%. That radically outperforms the 2.8% you typically get from standard Google organic. These visitors are just incredibly highly qualified because they've already done their rigorous research before ever landing on your site. And if you're wondering where all that high-intent B2B traffic is coming from, ChatGPT holds a massive, totally dominant 88.5% market share. If buyers are evaluating tech software, they're overwhelmingly doing it right there. So before you go off building any complex engineering solutions, you really need to run a baseline diagnostic. First up, look for direct traffic spikes on deep technical pages that don't even have top-tier SEO rankings. Then, compare that steady direct traffic growth against flat brand awareness spend. If your ad spend hasn't budged but your direct traffic is growing, you've almost certainly got hidden AI traffic. Now, marketing teams always ask at this point, can't we just wait for Google Analytics 4 to update and fix this? The short answer? No way. Standard browser-based analytics are essentially broken security cameras looking for footprints after a rainstorm. The data was completely wiped out before it ever even reached the browser layer. Default tools like GA4's AI Assistant or even custom regex setups are structurally blind. They only work if the referrer is perfectly intact. Mobile app clicks, Claude, stripped headers, they all slip right past them. But server-side logs, they act as an infrastructure-level security camera, catching every single HTTP request, no matter what the browser tries to hide. If you want to measure this accurately, you have to bypass the browser entirely. You need to capture data down at the infrastructure level using content delivery networks. Think Cloudflare or Azure Front Door. They say absolutely every request made to your domain before your analytics tags even attempt to fire. Building a true first-party attribution pipeline basically takes 3 steps. First, Edge Collection streams those raw access logs straight from your CDN. Next, you warehouse those logs in a structured database like PostgreSQL. And finally, you apply custom classification logic in SQL to match user agents and verify IP addresses against known AI operators. This part is absolutely crucial to filter out spoofed bots. What's really fascinating here is that analyzing these server logs lets you isolate 4 entirely distinct types of AI requests. You've got your training crawls, search index crawls, direct agent fetches, and human referrals. The absolute game changer, though, direct agent fetches. These represent live anonymous buying intent, an AI literally evaluating your pricing or docs on behalf of a buyer in real time. Look, I know committing to this kind of custom data engineering sounds like a heavy lift, but it is absolutely necessary for modern teams. Why? Because modern B2B buying behavior has completely shifted into what we call the dark funnel, that totally hidden research phase that happens long before a buyer ever speaks to your sales team. The shift we are seeing is truly staggering. To put it in perspective, a 2025 report shows an unbelievable 94% of B2B buyers now use large language models during their purchasing process. They're completing 61% of their evaluation entirely independently before they even think about contacting a vendor. They're using AI to compare features and synthesize pricing weeks in advance. Now you've got a choice here: build or buy. Licensing a dedicated answer engine optimization SaaS tool is fantastic for monitoring your overall market visibility. But building a custom, first-party data layer, that gives you raw, unsampled pipeline attribution that remains entirely under your control, freeing you from those perpetual SaaS licensing costs. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. Why can't we just use UTM parameters? And it's a totally fair question. But remember how AI works. Large language models dynamically scrape plain URLs in real time, and they rarely append your custom UTM tags automatically. So relying on UTMs just leaves the vast majority of your organic citations completely vulnerable to that reverse stripping we've been talking about. So here's the bottom line. The era of the browser-based tracking pixel is definitively ending. The old tools simply cannot see the modern buyer's journey clearly anymore, which leaves us with one incredibly critical question. Are you capturing the true high-intent pipeline in your edge logs, or are you going to keep blindly celebrating those unexplained surges in direct traffic? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll leave you to chew on that one.